Mujtaba's drone campaign keeps Trump's forces on edge in the Gulf. There is no breathing space for U.S. forces in the Gulf as repeated attacks keep pressure high. Iran is keeping up the pressure in Hormuz as the U.S. reports fresh drone action. U.S. forces scramble after Iranian drones reportedly approached in the latest incident. The latest attack on U.S. forces is raising questions over Trump's Hormuz mission. CENTCOM said on June 7 that U.S. forces shot down 2 Iranian one-way attack drones. The U.S. military said the drones posed a threat to international maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. According to the CENTCOM statement, the incident was reported in the Strait of Hormuz on Saturday. U.S. Central Command said, and I quote, "Earlier today, U.S. forces in the Middle East shot down 2 Iranian one-way attack drones that threatened international maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. American forces remain postured and ready to continue defending against Iranian aggression." Unquote. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has released its account of the events that it says led to the latest military confrontation with the United States. According to the IRGC, the standoff began when 4 oil tankers under U.S. military escort attempted to transit the Strait of Hormuz. The Guard Corps claimed the vessels were violating restrictions imposed by Tehran as they moved through the strategic waterway. IRGC statement read, and I quote, "We warn the aggressor and child-killing enemy that if these evils are repeated, a limited response will not suffice. You will be responsible for the consequences of the complete closure of the Strait of Hormuz to the export of oil and gas." American drones hit a telecommunications port in Keshem and a port in Sirik with 2 projectiles. Unquote. Iran said its naval forces issued repeated warnings to the convoy, setting the stage for dangerous escalation in the Gulf. The IRGC says one of the tankers was intercepted and forced to stop after allegedly ignoring repeated warnings from Iranian naval forces. According to the Guard Corps, the remaining vessels then turned back and withdrew from the area, bringing the immediate standoff to an end. After the tanker incident, the IRGC alleged that U.S. drones carried out strikes on facilities in Keshem and Sirik, further escalating tensions in the Gulf. Iran claimed the operation targeted telecommunications and port infrastructure, describing it as a direct attack on strategic coastal facilities. The alleged strikes marked yet another dangerous turn in the ongoing confrontation between Washington and Tehran, as both sides exchanged accusations and military action. The incident comes amid reports that the U.S. military has been actively escorting commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz as tensions in the region remain high. According to the New York Times, American forces helped coordinate the passage of more than 100 commercial ships through the strategic waterway during May. The report said maritime traffic continues to face security risks as diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran remain stalled. Reports also indicated that dozens of vessels transited the strait under U.S. military coordination, highlighting the growing importance of naval escorts in the Gulf. Iran's military said several U.S. warships operating in the Sea of Oman withdrew after Iranian forces fired warning shots during a tense maritime standoff. On June 5, Tehran said its actions were aimed at countering what it described as maritime mischief and the alleged hijacking of commercial vessels in regional waters. According to Iranian state media, the Navy fired warning shots using Qadi missiles and newly introduced Shahed Dana drones during the operation. The confrontation escalated further after the United States announced it had shot down at least 4 Iranian drones and carried out strikes on targets in Gorak and on Keshem Island. Iran's IRGC has claimed responsibility for the latest attacks on Kuwait and Bahrain. The IRGC said it targeted U.S. military bases in the 2 Gulf states, according to Times of Israel. Iran said the attack was retaliation for U.S. strikes on its radar sites earlier in the night. IRGC statement said, and I quote, "At 1:30 this morning, for offending tankers, with the instigation and guidance of the U.S. aggressor army, without coordination and without paying attention to the warnings of the IRGC Navy, intended to leave the Strait of Hormuz illegally. Following this incident, at 2 o'clock, American drones hit a telecommunications tower in Keshem and a mast in Sirak with 2 projectiles. In response to the aggression of the American child-killing army, 2 American airbases in Kuwait named Ali al-Salem and the remaining important facilities of the 5th Fleet of the American Navy in Bahrain were immediately targeted by IRGC Aerospace Force ballistic missiles. We warn the aggressor and child-killer enemy that if these evils are repeated, a limited response will not suffice. You will be responsible for the consequences of the complete closure of the Strait of Hormuz on the exit of your oil and gas." Unquote. Meanwhile, the U.S. military appears to be trying to contain the fallout, saying Iran launched 7 ballistic missiles. U.S. officials said the missiles were fired toward Kuwait and Bahrain, according to Times of Israel. The missiles were launched hours after the U.S. said it had thwarted 4 Iranian one-way attack drones. U.S. Central Command statement said, and I quote, "U.S. forces intercepted multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones launched by Iran toward the Strait of Hormuz and Gulf neighbors, June 5. Iran fired 7 ballistic missiles toward Kuwait and Bahrain hours after U.S. Central Command CENTCOM shot down 4 Iranian one-way attack drones that were launched toward the Strait of Hormuz. The attack drones posed an immediate threat to regional maritime traffic. U.S. forces subsequently struck Iranian coastal surveillance radar sites in Gorak and on Keshem Island to defend against further maritime attacks. Initial assessments indicate 6 of the missiles launched by Iran were intercepted and a 7th did not reach its intended target. There are currently no reports of harm to U.S. personnel, and Iranian claims of damaging U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain are false. CENTCOM forces remain vigilant and postured to continue responding to unwarranted Iranian aggression in self-defense." Unquote. The IRGC claimed the latest strike after a former commander warned of a wider conflict.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.